Hi everyone. In this clip, I would like to talk about sympathy versus empathy. First things first, what is the difference? When we apply empathy, we're not trying to fix the person, but we are only listening to their pain and sharing the difficult thoughts and feelings. We are trying to say, we understand what you're going through without actually losing sight of choice. When we express empathy, it lessens the feeling of being misunderstood or judged. Sometimes expressing empathy is looking into the mirror of our own emotions. It requires us to acknowledge that no one is immune from challenging times or making questionable decisions and choices. This realization can be communicated to the person to help them through their pain. By expressing empathy, we're inviting them to our own inner space. When they see what we have that we have struggles of our own, it makes them feel connected. This connection allows them to trust us and share what they are feeling. So, empathy creates connection and understanding. The difference between empathy and sympathy is in how we relate to the other person. Empathy is showing compassion and understanding. Sympathy is more of a feeling of pity for them. Empathy is our ability to understand how someone feels, while sympathy is our relief in not having the same issues or problems. When we relate with empathy, we give them space for their own emotions and feelings. We reflect on what they are feeling and provide a safe space for all emotions to show up in confidence. When we relate with sympathy, we move into problem solving mode and judgment. Judgment sometimes also brings about discussions of what has happened in the past and whether or not they have learned from it or not, which makes the walls go up and the emotions even more so strong. Sympathy weakens because it brings a feeling of victimization as well as perhaps a hint of guilt. When we sympathize, we normally use phrases like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this has happened to you," or "You poor thing, that's not fair. How can someone do this to you?" Or "Do you remember?" We're basically saying things are happening to you and you have no power over them. We are taking their strength away. We have ideas and judgments about how the person feels and what they should or should not do. Sympathy ignores their feelings at this moment, and it comes from our ego and feeling of separateness. It is what we know we should do, and often it's telling others what to do or feel as well. Empathy, however, comes from heart. It is feeling another person's pain and sharing a human experience. Everyone wants to be accepted and understood, and empathy fosters those feelings in the person that is sharing and in the person that is listening. Another difference between empathy and sympathy is that empathy is an appropriate emotion at any time. Showing empathy will bring you closer to others, no matter what the circumstances might be. But sympathy is usually only shown during tough times. The way we show empathy is not a step by step process to adhere to, and everyone has their own ways of doing so. There is no set way. However, um, there are common attitudes that create an empathetic space for others in all circumstances. For example, listening without judgment, which takes us back to my previous clip. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go and take a look at it. We need to be an active listener to understand what the other person is trying to say without running it through our own judgment. Your full and undivided attention is on the person that you're listening to, and you don't allow yourself to be distracted by phone, TV, or other things that are around you. You listen without providing any advice. Let them talk and ask constructive questions from them. to come to their own conclusions. If they ask for advice, ask them what they think they should do first. Doing this is reminding them that they are in power and they're not hopeless and can find their own solutions. Build trust by accepting validity of their feelings. Be vulnerable with them. If you have a similar experience, consider sharing your experience with them and how it made you feel, so that person also doesn't feel so alone. Sympathy comes from ego and separateness. Empathy comes from unity. Be the light.